Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I need about 10 of you to subscribe and we'll hit 10,200 subscribers. So please do subscribe if you're not already. Click a like on the video as well. It does massively help me out. Let's try and get to 100 likes straight off the bat. Why not? But it's good to see loads of you here. Lots to talk about today. Obviously, the transfer window is still bubbling away. It hasn't opened yet, but the gossip is bubbling away. So we'll be talking about that. Yeah, a few of you referencing the Carolina Reaper. Oh, dear, dear, dear. I would not recommend it. I would not recommend eating a Carolina Reaper. Plain and simply. I would not. But it's good to see loads of you here. Ross Lawman, Carter, K123, Junior Films, Sportcat, George Christodoulou, Cedar Tree, Vivi Vlad, Woodsy, Ethan Udall, Francisco Oliveira, Emilio Hyper Protagonist, Carter Sampson, Eric, Jakub Hanna, Adam, Ultra Pro Gamer, and many, many more. I've missed too many chats already, but I will catch up. You should do a stream having eaten one. No, honestly, I couldn't. I physically wouldn't be able to stream. I could barely get words out for the first sort of 10 or 15 minutes. It was feeling better now. Yeah, I feel all right. I feel all right. Do I still go live on TikTok? Not much. I pretty much just go live on Tifo when I do the watch-alongs. So, but no, I feel all right. Like, I'll be honest, like my belly's just like radiating heat. It's like I've got like a hot water bottle like strapped to my belly. But we're good. We're good. We're fine. I've eaten dinner and that was fine. So the lives used to be at 5:30 last summer. I thought, yeah, they were at 5:30 last summer. They're at 6:30 these days, though. Just makes my life easier, to be honest with you. Thoughts on Dyche saying Onana isn't good enough? Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll talk about it. So this came from Team News and Ticks today. Obviously, it's the main part of the thumbnail and the title and stuff. But he said Bruno Guimaraes could join Arsenal for 80 million instead of the initial £100 million price tag. And this ties into the fact that something we've previously said on this channel is that we can't trigger Bruno Guimaraes' release clause. His release clause is £100 million and it expires on the 30th of June. So after the 30th of June, he will no longer have a release clause. We can't trigger it before the 30th of June because the 30th of June is also when the FFP resets for the following 3 years. And so basically, and I think Man City are in the same position, actually. So no one's going to be able to trigger his release clause. No one can afford 100 million. Or even if you spread that out over a few years and you can do 25 million a year for 4 years, no one's going to do it. So then, you know, it could end up being like the Declan Rice saga again. I've heard quite a few things about Man City wanting Bruno. And if we're in for him as well, look, maybe it ends up being us against City again. Would City let us beat them to a player again? I'm not so sure. If they really wanted him, would they let us do it? You know, that would be 2 summers in a row where we'd both gone for a midfielder and Arsenal had got him. That's not something that City usually do. The big question is, would he choose us over City? You never know. You know, Declan Rice did. There are a lot of reasons, especially, right, if you're in any doubt that Man City's charges are going to come to fruition within the next year, do you really want to be there when that happens? You know? Because that'll almost get tied more to the current City players than it will to the City players that have been and gone. City want Paqueta? Yeah, but, I mean, surely they're 2 different signings, right? Paqueta and Bruno G are 2 different signings. I think they want both of them. I personally don't want Bruno, to be honest, but I'm at this place where Arteta could sign anyone and I'm on board. Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, I look at it. I think a midfield of Rice, Bruno G and Ødegaard. Look, I'm still not actually sure that is better than Thomas Partey, Rice and Ødegaard in terms of the best version of Thomas Partey. But I just don't think that we'll ever see the best version of Thomas Partey for a prolonged period of time anyway. So it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. Really, I don't want to go toe-to-toe with City in a transfer saga again. The Declan Rice saga bloody nearly killed me. But we'll see how it goes. Did you see David Moyes saying Rice was the reason they've been so poor this season? Yeah, I was surprised that he was that sort of blunt and honest about it. He was asked specifically why he thinks West Ham have been on the receiving end of so many big losses. So it wasn't because West Ham have had a better season this season than they had last season, right? If you do a comparison, theoretically, of West Ham with Rice last season and with West Ham without Rice this season they've got more points, they've got more wins, but they've also got more losses, significantly more losses from what were draws last season. And some of those losses have been much bigger. And yeah, David Moyes basically said, yeah, that's Declan Rice. You lose the best midfielder in the league who protected your back four, and that's going to happen. So fair play to him. Big GZ, good to see you. I appreciate you catching the live. Thoughts on Tommy not being in training? Yeah, so everyone trained today apart from Tomiyasu, but it did come out later that Tomiyasu was just doing some additional recovery work, basically. So there's no, as it stands, there isn't a concern that Tomiyasu won't be available for the game against Man United. It was just that he didn't come out with the main group to do the main training session. He was just doing additional recovery work. So, look, maybe that is still a side effect of the calf issues that have been plaguing him. And after, relatively intense games, he needs more time to recover. But I don't think it's a huge deal. Moyes probably doesn't give a fuck considering how West Ham have treated him. Yeah, I think, I think what's going on with managers at the moment is wild. I just don't get it. You've got Bayern Munich getting rid of Thomas Tuchel, and now, potentially they're looking at Ten Hag being one of the men at the top of their list. And it's like, okay, well, Ten Hag is not an upgrade on Thomas Tuchel. And then you've got United potentially looking at bringing in Tuchel as their replacement to Ten Hag if he goes to Bayern. And then you've got West Ham here going and getting Lopetegui, who was at Wolves and did no better at Wolves than Moyes has done at West Ham. And actually, Gary O'Neill's come in at Wolves and done a better job than Lopetegui did with pretty much the same group of players. I'm like, yeah, it's bizarre what's going on with managers at the moment. Teams are just getting rid of their managers without looking at the market, I think, because the market is terrible. But look, it doesn't concern us, that's for sure. As long as Ten Hag is still there on Sunday, we're golden. We're golden. By the way, when we did those score predictions for the Man United Crystal Palace game at the end of yesterday evening's stream, I don't think a single person actually, I think someone said 5-0 to Palace maybe. There were lots of 4-1s and 3-1s, but 4-0. 4-0. Unbelievable. The manager pool in world football is so weak at the moment. Yeah, it is. And when you've got managers like Nagelsmann turning around and saying, no, I'd rather manage Germany. That's unusual. Realistically, it is unusual that managers in their prime would rather do an international job than a top-level club. Yeah, Ross said 4-0. No, Ross said 5-0, sorry. Yeah, Ross said 5-0. How shit do you have to be below Chelsea? Man United are bad. But this is what I keep saying. People kept saying I was jinxing it and all that stuff. But I just cannot look at that Manchester United team and not think we're going to go and slap them at Old Trafford. And I don't know how many of those players that were missing last night are going to be back by Sunday. But they're just awful. And apparently, so last night, their centre-back pairing was Johnny Evans and Casemiro. And apparently, Johnny Evans failed a fitness test yesterday, but Ten Hag asked him to play anyway. So potentially, they could be without Johnny Evans for that game as well. We could end up playing, unless they play youth players, we could end up playing against Man United with their centre-back pairing being Casemiro and Amrabat. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Did you see Fulham players flying kites in training? I have no hope. Yeah, I made a TikTok about it on my Rory Talks Arsenal account an hour ago. Yeah, look, the fact is, and this is the reality, right? Fulham are on holiday now. If you watched the Brentford-Fulham game or the highlights of the Brentford-Fulham game, two teams that are on holiday. Their seasons are done, and it was 0-0, and it was just zero intensity. And yeah, do you think Fulham could care less about beating Man City? It's unfortunate, but I just don't see City dropping points. City have beaten Fulham 15 games in a row. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how bad Bruno Fernandes' injury is. I don't know if Bruno Fernandes is going to be back for the game on Sunday. I'm not too sure. But we need to batter them. We need to batter them. And I hope the Arsenal players were looking at Onana last night. Aim at the near post. Bukayo Saka cutting onto his left, aim at the near post. Trossard cut onto his right, aim at the near post. Onana is absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless. Do you think Rashford will be back for Sunday? I'm not sure. The problem is, if you're Man United now, there's two ways of looking at it, right? One is pride. If you get smashed by Arsenal at Old Trafford, that's a heavy one to take for the pride. But the other thing is, do you want to risk players that are carrying injuries in a game against Arsenal when you've got an FA Cup final in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Probably not. The FA Cup final is the only thing they've got left. It's their only route really probably into Europe now. And it's the only potential saving grace they've got. I mean, they're going to get smoked by Man City either way. But Rory Jennings has apologised to Kai Havertz. Should I buy a lottery ticket? It's about time. Talent, you haven't missed too much. The main thing so far was that, according to Team News and Ticks, Bruno Guimaraes could join Arsenal for 80 million this summer instead of the initial £100 million price tag. And that is because no one is going to trigger the £100 million buyout clause that expires on the 30th of June because of FFP. Willsy's in here. He says, everyone, please hit the like button and show some love. Yeah, if you could smash the like button, get us up to 100 likes. That would be fantastic. The weird thing is two teams who are on holiday are usually bore fests, but one team versus someone who is on holiday can be quite fun to watch. The holiday team can get a boost of energy. Maybe, but not against Man City. I'll be here Sunday. Last night was the worst result you could hope for. Why? Why was last night the worst result we could have hoped for? I thought it was a great result. I thought it was hilarious, personally. Do you still think that rules out Isak if we get Bruno G? Yeah. I would be absolutely shocked if Newcastle somehow ended up selling both Bruno G and Isak this summer. Because they don't need to sell both. I would be incredibly surprised if they sold both of those. Especially because it's looking more and more certain that they're going to be in the Europa League next year. So that's guaranteed income next season. That now they know that they'll get that. Means they're even less likely to need to sell. Isak or Bruno G? Isak for me. Yeah, probably Isak for me as well. But I think Bruno G is going to be a lot more achievable. Personally. You Arsenal fans are really cocky. Football is a humbler. I'm sorry, right? It's not cocky. It is not. Look at Manchester United. Look at Manchester United's results. It is not cocky to say that we should comfortably beat them. That it's just not. You've won one game in the last 8, and it was against Sheffield United, and even then you conceded 2. It's not cocky. Both are unique archetypes, but I think there are more Brunos than Isaacs. Yeah, probably. Not going to lie, Man U always make the game harder when versus a big team. I know, but I don't know what to say. I just don't think it's going to be I just don't think they've got the players to do it. I don't. Check our Big 6 results at home. I don't need to. Sheffield United were leading twice at Old Trafford. Yeah, exactly. The only thing that can stop us is the fact that Paul bloody Tierney is the referee again. This is how stupid it is, right? Paul Tierney's the referee, and I'm not going to get really wound up about it, right? Because I think we'll comfortably win anyway. But Paul Tierney is from Greater Manchester. Now, I don't care who he claims to support when they have to fill in that thing. He grew up in Greater Manchester. He supports City or United. You grow up in Greater Manchester. Realistically, you grow up supporting either City or United. So either the team that he supports is the team that we're playing against, United, or the team that he's... And he's the guy that ruled out Martinelli's goal against Man United at Old Trafford last season, which PGMOL had to apologise for. What a ridiculous. And he volunteers to be bold. You've got all these bold referees, which for me is some sort of deep-rooted conspiracy of its own. And he chooses to be bold. Unbelievable. Tristan, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Frazar, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I lagged a bit then. I don't know what that was. That wasn't even internet related because it lagged on my screen. I don't know what happened. There's 231 of you in here. Fantastic. If you could click the like button, that would be sensational. Which team does Paul Tierney say he supports? I don't know. I'd be devastated if we signed Zubimendi when Bruno G is available. So we'll talk about the other two, right? So according to Team News and Ticks, the other two midfielders, one of them, which would be the easiest one for us to do, is Onana at Everton. Not the Man United Onana, thankfully. Onana at Everton. And the reason is that apparently Sean Dyche really doesn't like him. Sean Dyche doesn't like him. You know, he hasn't been starting games for Everton recently. And Sean Dyche wants to get rid of him. So, you know, that makes it an easy deal to do. What you then have to start asking, I don't like this bold slander, Rory. I'm sorry. I have nothing against bold people. Listen, I'm probably going to end up bold at some point myself. So, you know, this will come back to bite me, but karma. But no, you've got to ask yourself, you know, do we want someone that Sean Dyche doesn't want? Now, don't get me wrong. You know, it could be that Onana really doesn't fit Everton's style of play, and Everton have a very different style of play to us. So, you know, there's that. But I do look at it and I'm like, I don't know. What's Sean Dyche seeing that he really doesn't like? A €10 super chat from Tezzy. Thank you very, very much for that. €10 super chat. It says off topic, but I'm curious about how scouts are received at clubs. E.g., do they sneak in and sit with fans, or for Gyökeres, would Sporting be hosting our scouts, or a bit of both? I believe at the top level, it is very much, it's very much the second part. It's the, you know, they would be hosted, not hosted necessarily, but, you know, the club would be aware that they were going, and, you know, I don't know if they have a specific area that they go. But yeah, I don't think they kind of sneak in and take notes. Or anything like that. I'm not actually sure. Maybe they do get their own, because I've never really seen anyone taking notes or anything. Interesting. Not actually too sure. Good question though, and thank you very, very much for the super chat. De Zerbi never wanted Trossard, up and downs. Yeah, true. That is true. Onana is a good player, will be a monster under the right manager. The fact that Ginger Guardiola doesn't like him is a plus. Yeah, maybe. And then the other one that Team News and Ticks mentioned was Joao Neves. He just said, you know, 19-year-old from Benfica that we've mentioned on here before. He's going to be very expensive. You know, I think he'll be 90 to 100 million. But apparently Arsenal think that he is an absolute gem. And I think he probably is an absolute gem. But ultimately, I think what this is going to end up depending on is if the midfielder is now the number one priority ahead of the striker, then I think we drop 80 to 100 million on them. Which almost makes me think it won't be Zubimendi, because Zubimendi's cheaper than that. Zubimendi, I think, is about 50 million. So I've got a feeling if we end up spending more on this player, then you end up just going above Zubimendi. Onana will smash a couple of own goals in the final game of the season. Yeah, maybe. Neves is a gem. He's a mix of Caicedo and Enzo in one. Interesting. I've not seen enough of him. I have seen him a fair bit, but probably still not enough. Thoughts on Cozy Dubry? Maybe go to Arsenal. Yeah, we spoke about that a bit yesterday. I'd be annoyed. I think we've got to do what we can to sign him to a contract. But the thing is, look, ultimately, if Cozy Dubry doesn't want to sign a new contract, he doesn't want to sign a new contract. There's not a lot we can do about it. It is what it is. Neves does look very good. He's short but tenacious, really good on the ball. Yeah, he's excellent on the ball. That's the only thing that slightly worries me is the height. If you look at what Arteta has built, really he's gone for physicality in every position. Even I would say someone like Bukayo Saka, right? He's not tall, incredibly strong. We have realistically we have Erdegaard and kind of Trossard, who are the only two players that we've got that aren't really physical. So I'm not sure if he'd go for Neves. How tall is he? I think he's about. I want to say 5'8". I want to say 5'8". Let me see if I can get it on here. He's 174 centimeters. What's that? What's 100? It pisses me off when they put it in centimeters. Who works in centimeters? 174 centimeters in feet and inches is. Well, that's not right, is it? What are you doing? 5.7 feet. So like 5'8". 5'8". Yeah. So he's not tiny. He's not tiny, but relative to the rest of the I mean, De Jong is the dream move. Yeah, I would like De Jong. I mean, I've said before, I'd be very happy with Joshua Kimmich, to be honest. But would you take Elise for completion, for competition for Saka? Yeah, 100%. 100%. Who works in centimeters? The majority of the world does. Yeah, but why? Why? Taller than Ross Lawman. The shade. The shade. Height isn't everything. No, height isn't everything. But any other nation than the UK works in centimeters and meters. But the fact we're talking about a player coming to an English club here. So sell Partey and buy Kimmich for now, and Eric Martel for the future. Kante's 5'7". Yeah, but Kante was Kante. Kante was Kante. Look, the height is not a reason. The height is not a reason to be put off by him. I mean, if you look at this, when I talk about greenery, wait, let me show you. This is Joao Neves. When we talk about greenery, this is greenery. This. Look at this greenery. This is green. Greenery. So, look, we'll see. We'll see. He's played what? 25 starts. This is quite interesting. Touches in the 99%. You love to see it. Defensive actions, 89%. I mean, incredibly, 78% of aerial duels won. So he might have an absolute leap on him. Not too sure. But yeah, Arsenal consider him to be a gem. Rory height reveal. I'm 6 foot. I don't have anything to worry about. So seen less green at a Green Party conference. Would you be happy with Arsenal going all out on other positions and keeping Havertz as the 9? Yes, but no. I'd be happy keeping Havertz as the 9, but I still think we need another one anyway. So regardless of whether or not, Havertz is going to have to stay as the 9. 100%. Kai Havertz is better there than in, as the left centre mid or the 8 or whatever. So Havertz has to stay up top anyway, but then we need another one. Eddie Nketiah is going. Gabriel Jesus might go, but if he doesn't, I think he's more of just a versatile forward option. We need another centre forward. Wilsey, Thank you very, very much. Member for 1 month. Hit the like button. You know it makes sense. Willsey, massive, massive appreciation for your continued support. You're always around, and I appreciate it. I know you made a video on it, but Goldbridge's meltdown yesterday was hilarious to watch. The video got taken down. That video was flying. I made a video reacting to Mark Goldbridge reacting to the disallowed goal. He was having a complete meltdown. I was genuinely crying with laughter, and TikTok took it down for harassment and bullying. So yeah, unfortunately, that video got taken down. But no, Goldbridge yesterday was hilarious. Goldbridge after a few wines, oh, sensational. Yeah. Sportcat, you've got to go and see it. You've got to go and see it. Just search Goldbridge reaction to disallowed goal. So funny. So funny. Yeah, he was on the red wine. Would you prefer Watkins and Louise or Gyökeres and Onana? Would I prefer Watkins and Douglas Luiz or Gyökeres and Onana? I'd prefer Gyökeres and Douglas Luiz. That would be good. Can we mix and match? Gyökeres and Douglas Luiz would be the one. New kit versus Everton? Apparently not. So, last season, you'll remember, right? Last season, the final game of the season, which was home to Everton, right? Or was it Wolves? No. Was it Wolves? Maybe it was Wolves. Or no, it was Everton. Can't remember. Anyway, the final game of last season was at home, and we wore the new kit, what is now the current kit, right? Because it's good promotion. Yeah, it was Wolves. Because it's good promotion for the new kit. But apparently there's a rule. So we're launching next season's home kit on the 16th of May. And the final game is the 19th of May. So the assumption was that we would wear that kit in that game. But apparently, if we're still in the title race on the final day, as in if there's still any chance that we can win the title on that final game, we're not allowed to wear the new home kit. We have to wear this season's home kit, because if we do win it and we do the trophy lift and stuff, it has to be in the current kit, which is a little known rule. When was it? After which goal? No, Sportcat. It was basically in the 25th minute. If you go back to yesterday's watch along, or Goldbridge's watch along, go to the 25th minute. It was when their goal got disallowed for Rasmus fouling Henderson. Can't believe there's only 2 more weeks of PL. I know. 2 weeks of PL. Well, we've got Champions League. We've got Championship playoffs, playoff finals, FA Cup final, Champions League final, and then couple of weeks, and then it's the Euros. I made a video today. I'm actually buzzing for the Euros now. Today, lovely weather outside. The temperature's picking up, and I'm just thinking beer gardens, summer football, every day, sensational. And it's been 3 years since we had a summer with football because of the Winter World Cup. So, yeah, today I proper got in the mood for the Euros today. And it's going to be Copa America as well. It's Copa America this summer as well. I don't think Arsenal will spend super high figures on youngsters. For example, Florian Wirtz from Bayer. Amazing, but we can be patient and sign them when they hit 23 years old. Yeah, I don't think we'll go for I don't know. We won't do what Man United do, I don't think, in terms of buying, or what Chelsea do, in terms of, spending fees on players as if they've already made it when they're still just a prospect. Like Chelsea have spent money on players like Enzo and Mudryk. That is what they should go for once they've actually achieved what they're capable of, but they buy them as prospects. I don't think we should be doing that. And if we are doing that, I think we should be going younger, before they're at that point of being sold for huge numbers. United by names, they do. Team news for the UCL game? Great shout. The team news for PSG versus Borussia Dortmund. PSG, Donnarumma in goal. He's terrible. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Beraldo. Obviously, Lucas Hernandez injured. Mendes, Ruiz, Vitinha, Zaire Emery, Dembele. They've gone with Gonzalo Ramos up top with Mbappe off the left. Interesting. So there you go. So they've dropped Barcola. They've moved Mbappe out to the left. And then the Dortmund team, Kobel, Ryerson, Hummels, Schlotterbeck, Martsen, Emre Can, Sabitzer, Sancho, Brandt, Adeyemi, and Füllkrug. So that is the exact same Dortmund team that played in the last game. And honestly, I'm backing Dortmund. I am backing Dortmund. I'm backing Dortmund. I want them to win. Wait, there's UCL today? There is UCL today and tomorrow. We did do that with Ben White when we paid 50 million. True, we have done it in the past. And look, we still might. But I think we're at the point now where at that point, right, when we signed Ben White, we couldn't go and get, I don't know, whoever at the time was the established, next big, probably Jules Koundé, right? We couldn't have gone and got Jules Koundé when we got Ben White because of where we were in the league. Whereas now we can. There's an argument that we are the biggest attraction in the Premier League. I know Man City, to some people, will be because it's effectively guaranteed trophies and they probably pay a bit more. But if you're a real football fan, I think Arsenal are probably the best prospect in the Premier League right now. You've got a settled team with a settled coach, great brand of football, the favourites of any team that isn't Man City, the favourites to beat Man City. I think we're a huge prospect, and that makes signing so much easier. And Fabrizio Romano again confirming today that Gyökeres probably is going to move this summer, and that Arsenal are one of the teams interested. Hit the likes, yeah, come on, get us to 100 likes. Lagum, thank you very much. Good to see you. Chelsea are attractive with stupidly high and stupidly long contracts. Yeah, look, if you just want money, if you want security, you want an 8-year contract on stupid money, then Chelsea are the go-to. Is the new midfielder going to play in the DM and Rice in the 8, or the new midfielder in the 8 and Rice in the DM? Brilliant question. And do you know what I genuinely think? I don't think it matters. I think Arsenal will look at it and they'll go, if we can get a world-class 8, then we will play Rice in the 6 and we'll play them in the 8. If we can get a world-class 6, we'll play them in the 6 and we'll play Rice in the 8. And so actually, this summer, whatever ends up being the best deal possible on the table, whether it's a 6 or an 8, if they're elite and we can get them for the right price and they're the right age, the right profile, I think we'll get them and Rice will adjust to it. Rice is that good, in my opinion, that he can be the 6 or the 8 next year. And so, ideally you want someone that can do both as well, because then at least you've got, if one of Rice or that player is injured, then we've got more flexibility in terms of how we solve that injury issue. So you want someone like Rice that can do it, that can do both. But yeah, big up all the way from Uganda. Shout out to Uganda. New midfielder will be both a 6 and an 8. Bruno G is perfect. Douglas Luiz a class second choice. Yeah, look, possibly. I don't disagree. Lewis Bolden, if we sign Isak or Bruno, would be jokes. It would. Could even see a rotating double pivot in the same game. Yeah, we could see that. And I think we will see that in the big games. If you look at the way that Jorginho and Rice played this season in the big games, that's kind of how I envision it being next season. Only, it won't be Jorginho. It will be someone better. And better probably just means more athletic, to be honest. Do you think Arsenal should maybe go for Valverde? Would be an extremely tough deal. It'd be incredibly difficult to get Valverde out of Real Madrid. Unless Real Madrid look to sign a midfielder and then move on. But I just don't think they need to, because Modric and Kroos are both going to age out. I just don't think they need to get rid of any of that midfield. They don't need to get rid of any of Valverde, Tchouaméni, or my mind's just gone, Camavinga. And so, Yeah, I mean, Valverde would be nice, but yeah, I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will happen. He loves Madrid, and they won't look to sell. Yeah, yeah. You've got people spamming Arsenal and Edu, trying to get their players into the Arsenal team. We're not going to agents, and players are coming to us. Exactly, exactly. I can't remember who said that, but someone did say that recently. That we now literally have agents ringing up trying to get their player removed to Arsenal. 3 years ago, God, we'd be out there on our knees for the best players. We'd be out there on our knees, and they'd be laughing at us. It's a huge, huge progression that we've had. Camavinga would have been lovely. Yeah, well, Camavinga would have been brilliant because he could have done the left back job as well in terms of that versatility. But no, the only, maybe one of the forwards leaves. If they bring in Mbappe, and obviously they've got Endrick, you can maybe see Rodrigo leaving. But outside of Rodrigo, I don't think many players in that team leave. Maybe we can buy Wharton in 2 to 3 years. Yeah, Wharton's great, by the way. Wharton is really, really good. But again, it's another one of those ones that by letting him go to Palace first, you missed the boat on getting him for good value. Because when Wharton will end up being another, Wan-Bissaka or whoever else that leaves Crystal Palace for 50, 60 million. You missed the boat on the first, signing of that. Same with like Morgan Rogers going to Aston Villa. Wharton over Mainu for the Euros. It's a possibility. I don't know why, Man United fans would laugh at that, but Mainu looked out of his depth last night. Now, I know he's in a very bad team that's playing very badly, but I thought Mainu looked out of his depth alongside the rest of the team. I mean, the whole team looked out of his depth. They got beaten 4-0, but you've just hit 100 likes. Shout out to all of you for hitting 100 likes. I appreciate it. Have we hit 10,200 subscribers? Have we hit 10,200 subscribers? Are you subscribed? We're 3 away. We're 3 subscribers away. Come on. There's 255 of you in. There's 3 of you at least. There's 3 of you at least that are not subscribed. Come on. Come on. That's why signing Somerville would be amazing for us value-wise. If Leeds stay down, you could get Somerville relatively cheaply, yeah. If they come up, you won't. I can't believe Ipswich. I've seen this again. I can't believe Ipswich are genuinely considering dropping 60 million on Nketiah and Smith Rowe. I mean, that tells you the landscape of football and how it's changing. That Ipswich Town, all respect to them, would drop 60 million on Smith Rowe and Nketiah. And I would take it. The more I think about it, I think I'd take that. I think I'd take 60 million for those two. Bear in mind as well, that would be 60 million of pure profit. That's 2 academy players. That is 60 million profit. Which effectively, right, if you amortize that over 4 or 5 years, that's effectively worth 240 to 300 million in terms of what you can spend. Do you think Chelsea getting into Europe is progressing? Yeah. I mean, it is objectively Chelsea have progressed by getting back into Europe. Same with Forest paying 200 million when they first came up. Yeah. Yeah. One thing we would have to do in both of those deals, though, both Nketiah and Smith Rowe would have to have sell-on clauses. We'd have to stick, maybe not Nketiah as much, but Emil Smith Rowe would need a sell-on clause. Because when he inevitably ends up going to another big club, which I think he would, if he had a full season at Ipswich, I think he'd inevitably end up going to another big club. We've got to be making some money off that. We have to be, at least, if I'm seeing Eddie Nketiah going to a big club, I need to at least know that Arsenal are getting some of the kick out of it. 60 million would be very difficult to turn down for Smith Rowe and Nketiah. Why sell Smith Rowe? Well, I think we have to sell one of Fabio Vieira and Emil Smith Rowe. And if the bid comes in for Smith Rowe and it doesn't for Fabio Vieira, then your choice is made up. Do you think we will win a trophy next season? I do. If we get an even remotely good run in a cup, in terms of not getting City or Liverpool early in the tournament, I think we win it. I think going into next season, we will have the squad depth. We will have better squad depth than everyone bar City next season. 100%. So we should be looking at the cup competitions going, we go into them and we win them. We're not selling Fabio. I see him staying a while. I would imagine Arteta still feels like he can get, he can get something out of Fabio Vieira. Mikel Arteta will still look at Fabio Vieira as one of his own signings that he saw something in and believe that he can get the best out of him still. Do you think we will keep Nwaneri next season so he can be on the bench if we have injuries, or do you think he will go on loan to get regular first-team football? Well, there's some rumours knocking around that Nwaneri is going to get genuine minutes in the Premier League next season. That Nwaneri next season will be a legitimate bench option and will get minutes. So we'll see. Any team you think will make a massive leap in the Prem? What, next season? Wolves. I think Wolves will make a... Wolves this season have been very unlucky with injuries and screwed over by the refs. I think Gary O'Neill, if Gary O'Neill stays, I think he's a very, very good manager. I think they've got a good group of players at Wolves. They could do without selling too many of them this summer. And if they avoid that, I think Wolves will make a big jump. 60 million for Smith Rowe and Eddie is crazy, considering we still have Rambo, Nelson, Tierney, and Partey to sell. 130 million in player sales. Well, yeah, exactly. We'll make good money. Yeah, Palace as well. Palace. But again, they're probably going to lose a couple of big players this summer. It depends how many of that team they lose. Because I think Mark Gahey's ready for a move. Eze is. Elise is. Wharton won't leave this early. But yeah. Wolves, Palace, and Bournemouth. Yeah, Bournemouth's an interesting one because I still look at Bournemouth's squad and I don't think it's brilliant. I think Iraola's done an incredible job to get what he's got out of that Bournemouth squad this season. The Rambo leaving video is going to be so sad. Oh, mate, all of those videos are going to be sad. But Rambo and Smith Rowe leaving. It's going to be the first time that we've had genuinely painful sales in years and years. And even more so, genuinely painful sales where we're kind of choosing to sell the player. Not like a Van Persie or a Fabregas or an Henry where they're kind of choosing to leave us. It's tough. Even Alexis, like, it was painful because he was so good, right? It was painful because you were like, okay, we're losing our best player. It wasn't painful in the sense that he was an academy player or, that he had a great connect. I don't even think Sanchez had a brilliant connection with the crowd by the end. We sold Holding last year. Now, Holding was... It was time to go for Holding. Cedric leaving video will be so sad. Oh, so sad. So I think Cedric's leaving video will be so sad that I'll play it on loop. Thought about Sesko's release clause being performance related as per reports. Yeah, we spoke about that yesterday. Could end up being 75 million. Barely seen that before. Barely ever seen. I'm not sure I've ever seen performance related release clauses. Smart though. Very, very smart. I loved Sanchez. No, I loved Sanchez, but I loved Sanchez because I loved watching him because of how good he was. I don't feel like I loved Sanchez. Like, it's hard to explain. But not in the same way. El Neni leaving. El Neni leaving is sad. Yeah. But again, not quite in the same way. I mean, he's just been here for so long and he's such a nice guy. But I think El Neni will end up being involved in the club in the future anyway, to be honest. Look, anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. We are starting now. Clue number 1, this player is 35 years old. VV Vlad, I like the guess. Clue number 2, they won Serie A with AC Milan. Clue number 2, they won Serie A with AC Milan. Clue number 3, they joined Arsenal in 2018. Clue number 3, they joined Arsenal in 2018. Clue number 4, they won the FA Cup in 2020. Clue number 4, they won the FA Cup in 2020. And clue number 5, they moved from Arsenal to Olympiacos in January 2021. They moved from Arsenal to Olympiacos in January 2021. There's no way. If who I think got that first genuinely got it first and they've done it like that, then they have unbelievable amount of my respect. I'm gonna make sure I don't get a VAR checked, right? Unless someone kind of luckily said it early on. But if the person I think has won, I think they have. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. Hyper Protagonist has won, and he's done it by dropping the entire Papastopoulos. He's not even gone Socrates. He's dropped the entire Papastopoulos, which I'm pronouncing wrong. Fair play. Fair play. Hyper Protagonist. Sam Shapiro was second. HPG Gunner was third. President Bozo was fourth. And Alex Suter was fifth. But there you go. That is honestly, I'm impressed. I am impressed. I don't know what to say. Fair play. I tell you what, that was a hard one though. When I was looking at Socrates doing the clues, I was like, saying that he won Serie A with AC Milan is gonna throw people off. It was in 2011. It was in 2011 that he won Serie A with AC Milan. I had no idea. I was like, that clue is gonna throw people off. Sutton Explorer thinks he was third, but he thinks he misspelt it. Sutton Explorer, let me check. Let me have a look. Sutton Explorer. Not for me, Sutton Explorer. You didn't even type anything between first and fifth. No, you were about 10th. You were about 10th. It will be your internet. Yours will appear on your screen at the exact second that you sent it. It appears on my screen once it's come through the internet. So that explains that one. I had zero idea even after the last clue. Yeah, sometimes I look at the clues and I'm like, at what point do I think I would have got it? And to be fair, I think the last clue would have been the one that I got it, I reckon. Because the thing is, joining Arsenal in 2018 and winning the FA Cup in 2020, there's quite a few players that did that. And I'd have had no idea which one of them won Serie A with AC Milan. But anyway, well played to Hyper Protagonist. Is that your first ever win? Was that why you were celebrating so much? Was that your first ever win? He wasn't that bad a defender, just horrible at ball playing. Yeah, he was not a good ball playing player. That is for sure. It was his first ever. He was top 5 last week, and then that was his first ever. What are people trying to guess the non-Gooner already? Look at you, frauds. I tell you what, VV Vlad's Jeffrey Rene Adelaide shout was sensational. He got knocked out for 10 minutes by getting a ball in the face, but he was in the news. So that I rate trying to catch me out with Rene Adelaide. No, all of you that are guessing, I actually completely forgot to set up a Guess the Non-Gooner today. So I'm thinking of one on the spot right now. Who should we go for? I've got one. Look at you all guessing. I haven't even the Guess the Non-Gooner doesn't even exist yet. I've not even thought of it. Right. Here we go. All right. It is Guess the Non-Gooner. I will give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who it is. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as Hyper Protagonist currently has. This player started their career at the Real Madrid Youth Academy. They started their career at the Real Madrid Youth Academy. They went on loan to UD Logroñez. They went on loan to UD Logroñez. They went on loan to Sevilla. They then moved permanently from Real Madrid to Tottenham. They went on loan to Atletico Madrid. They went on loan to Manchester United. And they went on loan to Brentford. Who is the player? So Real Madrid, UD Logroñez on loan, Sevilla on loan, Tottenham permanently, Atletico Madrid on loan, Man United on loan, and Brentford on loan. Who's the player? Yeah, this is going to be an absolute. I mean, look, if someone guessed him before we even started, you know, I can't. How am I meant to VAR check that? It wasn't Brahim Diaz. I feel like that's everyone's go-to. Real Madrid Youth Academy, everyone's go-to is Brahim Diaz. It wasn't Carvajal. It wasn't. And there you go. It's Sportcat again. It is Sportcat. Sportcat is becoming the king of Guess the Non-Gooner. It was indeed Sergi Reguilon. So congratulations to Sportcat. Sam Shapiro is second again. I'll give him it, even though he spelt it wrong. George Christodoulou is third. Francisco Oliveira is fourth. And Adam512 is fifth. So there you go. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to Sportcat. And look, if I get VAR checked there, I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty sure I'm not getting a VAR check there. Guess the Non-Gooner merchant. To be fair to Sportcat, he's not an Arsenal fan. So if he starts winning Guess the Gooner, then you, the rest of you, chat, have some hard answers, some hard questions to answer if a Chelsea fan starts beating you to Guess the Gooner. So It's Gaming is saying he's been robbed. Willsy's on VAR and he's happy with it. It's Gaming. You know you're the boy that cried wolf. I've told you before, It's Gaming, you're the boy that cried wolf. You said Elise, you said Skamaka, you said Eze. What else have you said? You said Diaz. You said Isco. No, the last thing you said before Sportcat got it right was Isco. So you said it here. You were about 10th. Anyway, right. Score predictions. PSG Dortmund. Score predictions. I'm going 2-1 Dortmund, and they'll go through 3-1 on aggregate. That's what I'm going for. The amount of Spurs players you choose is unacceptable. 1-1, 1-1, 2-2, 1-1. So I'm going for like on the night scores here, not aggregate. So all of you that are guessing draws, presumably that means you think Dortmund go through. 2-1 to PSG. PSG win on penalties. 3-1 PSG. 3-1 PSG. 1-1 pens PSG. 3-3 Dortmund on pens. 2-2 Dortmund on aggregate. 3-0 PSG. I'm going for it. 5-5 Donnarumma scores all of them. 1-1 butt clencher until the last minute. Yeah, depending on how that Carolina Reaper goes, I might be butt clenching as well. 2-1 PSG, Dortmund in extra time. I like it. There's some reasonable shouts. I'm going 2-1 Dortmund on the night, 3-1 Dortmund on aggregate. Bosh. And I hope it happens. I mean, I'm desperate for Dortmund to win the Champions League. Marco Reus's last chance. Jadon Sancho, just the hilarious nature of him winning the Champions League, having left Man United on loan. 1-1 with a full Krug header. 1-1, Vitinha Masterclass and Dembele. Interesting. Look, anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for joining, as always. Absolute legends. We'll be back 6:30 tomorrow evening, as always. But until then, enjoy the Champions League football. A massive thank you again to Tessie May for the €10 and to Wilsey for continuing his membership. And yeah, until tomorrow, I hope you'll have a fantastic evening and goodbye.